This episode is sponsored by independent Swiss luxury watchmaker Ulysse Nardin. Ulysse Nardin has continuously reset the boundaries of watch engineering and design thanks to its long-established technical excellence and its unconventional approach to watchmaking. To find out more, visit ulysse-nardin.com. That's ULYSSE-NARDIN.com. Ulysse Nardin.
You're listening to The Luxury Item, the podcast on the business of luxury and the people and companies that are shaping the future of the luxury industry. Here's your host, Scott Kerr.
Private jet demand has soared in the years since the COVID-19 pandemic, as travelers and businesses opted for safer flying options and wealth for high net worth individuals has skyrocketed. This, combined with supply delays due to global supply chain and staffing difficulties, has made the ever more popular sector even more expensive. One company in the private business aviation sector that has shown tremendous growth over the past few years is VistaJet. Founded in 2004 by Thomas Flohr, the Malta-based VistaJet positions itself as the first and only global business aviation company. VistaJet built its business using a subscription membership model, which allows members to have access to an entire fleet whilst paying only for the hours they need. The company has a fleet of over 360 private jets operating in over 187 countries. My guest on the luxury item is Leona Qi, president of VistaJet U.S., a role that she has held since September 2018. With her leadership, her team is responsible for growing the customer base in North America, the biggest and fastest growing market in business aviation. The North America region has seen double-digit year-on-year growth for VistaJet over successive years. Ms. Qi has over a decade of experience in capital markets and business aviation finance prior to joining VistaJet in early 2016. She also held various roles at Global Jet Capital, Guggenheim Partners, and BNP Paribas. Welcome to the luxury item, Leona.
Hi, Scott. Really excited to be here.
I'm so glad you can join me. I'd love to start off by talking about your business model. VistaJet offers what you call an asset-free model to clients that you say eliminates the expense and burden of owning a private jet. You use a subscription model that bills by flight hours and provides private travel to and from airports around the world, among other things. Can you explain the advantage of asset-free versus the more traditional fractional or full ownership model?
Yeah, of course. I think, Scott, when an aircraft is a really large, expensive assets, most importantly, I think I'll just start by saying that it's an asset that always depreciates. So it's like a car. If you think about it from a car, right? Everybody knows if you drive a new car outside from a showroom, it depreciates immediately 20%. Now aircraft is the same. So traditional model is that you go out and you buy an aircraft, or you buy into a fractional model, or you can go out and charter someone else's plane. Where in the first two cases, you have access and the experience of an aircraft ownership experience, right? That means that a guaranteed availability, and you know exactly what's going to happen when you go to the airport because that's your plane or the program that you bought into. But at the same time, as the owner of the aircraft or part of the owner of the aircraft, that you're experiencing the asset depreciation. And in terms of if you're owning aircraft, you obviously need to worry about the, to take care of the aircraft, the maintenance, the insurance. So our business model is that we're telling our customers around the world is that let us take care of the aircraft. We're owning the aircraft, we're taking care of all the aspects with assets, including the depreciation, the management. And as a consumer, the only thing you need to worry about is that now how many hours am I flying, am I using a year? So you're buying those hours per year, you're subscribing to those hours per year, and you're good to go, right? So it's a very transparent way in terms of pricing. So if you're someone that, let's say you're flying 100 hours a year, you would kind of know exactly how much your private aviation spend would be in the next 3 years. So it gives you all the benefits in terms of aircraft ownership. So it's guaranteed availability, is 365 days around the world, and it's a fixed hourly rate 365 days and anywhere you are in the world.
So when you're meeting with a CEO and the CFO, even more, who currently owns or thinking of owning a corporate jet, what's your pitch to them? Why should they be a member?
Of course. So there, I think it's a little bit different, right? When we talk or my team talk to a CEO or a CFO of a company, so there are different folks. So now when we talk to CFO, what the CFO wants to know the most is the spend. What's my cash flow? How do I forecast? Because that's a CFO's job. They need to make sure that the company, from a financial perspective, what are the expenses? What are on the balance sheet? So that's where, for VistaJet, our subscription-based model, that's our biggest pitch to a CFO. Now, when we're talking to a CEO who's ultimately, in a lot of cases, the end user, right? So in our business, we call it the lead passenger. So what they want to know is, what is the experience, right? So because the CEO is the one that's probably going to fly,
right,
let's say 200 hours a year, 400 hours a year on the road. Our pitch to them is that one, the benefits of flying privately or using general aviation rather than commercial aviation is that it's really a time machine, right? So where you could, when you're flying privately, you go through, the security check, and also just from end to end, there are studies that show that on average, you will save 20% of the time when you're flying privately compared to you take all your trips commercially. And it makes some of the trips that if you want to do you want to visit 3 cities a day and you want to go back to the original departure airport, which is home, is only, in a lot of cases, is only possible when you're flying privately. And secondly, from a company, for a CEO who's running a company, we actually, so I want to start by saying that a lot of our clients actually, they do own an aircraft, right? Where we're supplementing their solution, because the advantage is that we're a company, we have over 300 aircraft in our fleet, and the aircraft are different sizes, so from super mid to long range. So our value proposition is really that no matter where you are in the world, we're offering you the guaranteed availability on our fleet. With as little as 24-hour notice, with the same consistency in terms of safety, in terms of service. So you know exactly what you're going to get around the world, right? No matter it's from New York to LA, or it's from Hong Kong to Bali, or it's to London to Zurich. And one aircraft can't do that, because one aircraft needs to be maintained, and sometimes that one aircraft does go, mechanical happens. And most importantly, one aircraft only comes with one set of range. Some aircraft flies 5 hours, other aircraft flies 10 hours. Where we have a fleet that can be tailored to the exact mission. So that's what a CEO would want to know, because it will make their schedule more efficient.
Now, I know VistaJet offers 3 types of memberships, program, corporate, and I think a newer one is VJ25. What are the main differences in terms of benefits and services between the programs?
Of course. So these are actually what you mentioned. I think they're on our website as well. They're actually, we have one, the flagship program is called a Flight Solution Program, which is FSP, right? That's the program. Mm-hmm. Now, a VJ25 is a smaller version of that program. So our program starts at 50 hours per year. The VJ25 is for flyers that don't need as many hours as you can, the name can tell you that it's 25 hours per year. So it comes with certain restrictions. And the corporate program is really, like your last question, we talked about, what we pitch to a CEO and CFO. So the corporate program is really, we do a little bit more tailored towards a big corporation. So what is big corporation needs in terms of business flying compared to an individual that are flying to their big, holiday locations, is that a big corporation may have multiple lead passengers, right? Because you have your chairman, you have your CEO, and you have your CFO. They might use the plane on different continents. And some corporates, they might already own their own aircraft. So when we talk to them, we tweak the program a little bit. So a lot of times it becomes that, how do we supplement their fleet? How do we make it truly seamless and 365 days a year? But in a nutshell, the 3, you asked the program, the VJ25, and then the corporate, they're really different aspect of one program. With the Vista family, we do have another program that is a charter program, which is with our one of the subsidiaries with the group, which is the XO program. So that's a pay-as-you-go program. We offer a membership to that program. Someone can buy into a membership, and then we'll provide them charter options.
So which program drives most of your business?
Well, the flight solution program is absolutely the heart and soul of our business.
Bookings for private flights began to accelerate in 2020 as the wealthy and business travelers sought to avoid crowds and COVID-19 restrictions in place at airlines. Pilot shortages and cutbacks to services at smaller airports also attracted private flyers. Even last year, as passengers returned, by the millions to commercial airlines, U.S. private jet companies continue to report strong bookings. Some recent metrics now suggest the white-hot market has begun to cool a little bit, and a little bit more manageable and at a sustainable level. Are you starting to see signs of the froth over flying privately receding a bit, or are you still seeing sustained growth?
I think I like to answer the questions in two folds, right? I think one is we just talked about, our program. One is a really high touch, high end, our subscription based model, which is the flight solution program, the program, and the other one is the charter program, the membership that we offer to our clients. During the pandemic, I think there is we talk about there is a real uptick to the private aviation, and as a company, we see a lot of newcomers that join the company. I would say majority of those newcomers really joined us on the charter side, which means that, in the past, they were flying commercially, and during pandemic, they could afford flying privately, but they wanted to see how things go in a lot of cases, right? They will come in, they will buy a charter flight here and there, and especially on routes that commercial flights that they cancel those routes. So those customers come in, and then the other surge that we see on the program side is we had customers before that they would use a combination of VistaJet and commercial flying. For example, someone will fly in the United States and in Europe, intercontinent privately, and then they will do the long routes via commercial, right? First class. Mm-hmm. And during pandemic, a lot of that, they increased their usage because they would fly privately exclusively during the pandemic. Now, we just announced our first half numbers in 2023. We had record numbers of new VistaJet members join VistaJet, but most importantly, we actually saw a increase in terms of add-on hours, which is our existing clients that they love the product, they're adding on the hours. Where we do see a little bit softening in terms of on the charter side, that for the clients that are taking 2 to 3 flights a year, that they were doing those, maybe they did one privately, they did the other 2 with commercial airlines. During the pandemic, they did all 3 of those flights with privately, and now post-pandemic, they're returning to the commercial routes. So they're keeping that one flight privately. So on that side, we saw a little bit slowdown, but that's a great thing about. You asked me last question, what is the heart and soul of our business? The business that underpins our entire Vista Group is definitely the subscription-based flight solution program, where we do offer our charter program now to supplement some of our flyers, and some of our members own both the program and then they have the charter program, right? Because people have different needs, right, in terms of when they're doing different missions. So on that side, we see a little bit softening, but the great thing is that with the subscription-based model, there is a stickiness to the program. One, the program is 3 years, and 2 is that when you experience that consistency, because it's a replication to ownership, people actually stay, they don't leave. I think the amount of add-on hours is really a testament to that.
VistaJet operates a large number of Bombardier business aircraft in its fleet. You've been a top customer of aircraft manufacturer Bombardier for a long time. Can you talk about the business relationship between the two companies?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we, like you mentioned, I mean, we are the majority of our fleet, especially before our acquisitions, they are Bombardier aircraft. We love the aircraft, so we work with the aircraft. Our company is our iconic silver and red livery on the aircraft type. And I think what's most important is that I think we, with the Global 7500 specifically, is it's a game-changing aircraft. It's
Right.
really most advanced in the business aircraft category. We really, our chairman and founder really as a company and also the executive committee really saw that this is a fantastic product. And just so you know, like each aircraft, when an OEM announce an aircraft model, it usually comes out 10 years after that it's being announced, where because of a working relationship with Bombardier, we placed those orders over 10 years ago before we got our first delivery. And I think, and our customer loves that aircraft. When it's delivered, I mean, it's a beautiful aircraft with a range, with the technology. So today, we're the operator with the largest fleets of that aircraft is Global 7500. And our customers absolutely love that aircraft.
How many do you own?
We currently have 18 on our fleet.
And how many people can it carry?
So the Global 7500 can carry 14 passengers. Obviously, if as owner, if you buy it, or operator, you buy it, you can design the aircraft yourself, right? With the VistaJet configuration, we are carrying 14 people because it's absolutely is the private configuration. And it can convert to 6 beds and sleep up to 8 people.
And how does having all these 7500s strengthen your brand compared to your competitors?
I think the 7500 really is an aircraft that I think it makes a lot of the routes, right, in the past impossible to connect to. Now they're direct. So for example, New York and Dubai, San Francisco and Paris. So a lot of these routes, and also London and Hong Kong. So these are the routes where comes back to when we talk about CEO and what's the advantage of someone flying privately. So it's really a time machine, because the most valuable and important resource of our customer base is time. They don't have enough time, and all they want to do is to how they can maximize their time, right? For the business with their family. So this aircraft really makes that possible. So to eliminate that fuel stop, and it cuts about 30 to 40% of the time when you can't fly direct. You have to do somewhere, with a few stops. So that really make it really popular aircraft type with Fortune 500 companies that have operations on multiple continents.
As the U.S. was opening from the pandemic in 2020 and leisure travel was becoming more of an accepted practice, I would imagine the hot destinations your clients flew to in the U.S. were places like Aspen and Cape Cod, Miami and Wyoming, places like that. What destinations have been popular these days?
To name a few, like, the ones that you talked about, they're very, very popular, especially Aspen, right? With winter coming. Is going to go up. Aspen has always been popular. Palm Beach, Miami, and Caribbeans. I know that you asked exclusively in the United States, but Caribbean is definitely very, very popular. People have been going to Utah, and from the pandemic, believe it or not, one of the hot destinations that people actually go is Alaska. So people start to go to Anchorage, because in the past we do a lot of flights, like, because we see, we do the fuel stop and the fuel change in crew change in Alaska, but now we actually fly clients there. They wanted to go. There's the deep sea fishing, and there's other adventures. People start to go there.
We'll be right back after a quick break with more of my conversation with Leona Qi.
A pioneer in innovative technologies and the use of high-tech materials such as silicium, Ulysse Nardin is one of the few integrated watch manufacturers with the expertise to produce its own high-precision components and movements. In 2001, the brand changed the face of watchmaking by launching the Freak. Freak led a counter-revolution to traditional watchmaking and reshaped the art of horology. Today, Ulysse Nardin remains devoted to its quest for watchmaking perfection through 4 collections: Freak, Blast, Diver, and Marine.
We're back with more from Leona Qi. For most luxury brands and marketplaces, a large portion of their revenue now comes from its top customers. I'm sure that's the case with VistaJet as well. And they're pulling out all the stops to deliver value through curated, hyper-personalized, and private experience for these high-spend customers. I know VistaJet has a program called Private World that specializes in creating these epic experiences for members through your preferred partners around the world. What top-of-the-strata experiences do you offer your high-spending members that separates you from other hospitality brands that are also catering to the upper echelons of global wealth with their own exclusive experiences?
I think for our clients, you asked that if we cater to the top clientele of our company. So on average, I would say our clients, they spend, they're committed to us, right? Our smallest contract size, you're committing to 3 years. Someone, you're talking about committing to at least $2 million to us. And the top end, they're committing on average over, you're talking about over 10 millions to us. So all of these clients, what is very important for us is that they're absolutely the heart and soul of the company and what's their passion, what they're interested in. So as a company, we want to make it our business to know exactly what they like. How do we make their life just to bring it to the next level, right? Because like you said yourself, a lot of them already have access to a lot of things. Now, what we're trying to achieve is that I think the ultimate luxury in terms of flying, where we're a private jet company in terms of flying, is that how do we make sure that the client lifestyle from the ground to the sky is not being disrupted? For us as a company, we think that's the ultimate luxury. How do you make sure that your life is seamless, is not disrupted at all? So we spend a lot of time doing research and resources investment to make sure that happens. So for example, on board, we have a really good, private VIP dining, our private dining, and we have all sorts of programs, the program for kids, for pets. We have 5G KU band internet, you can do conference call on board. And now when our clients do go to a destination, it's also our job, right, to help to inspire them. We observe through the years what they're flying. Why are people flying to different destinations? So that's how our private world was created. And when we're also working with a lot of our clients, right? We have athletes as our clients. We collaborated with a lot of the top restaurants and top chef. So we created those once in a lifetime experience for our clients when they're flying around the world. Like one example that I wanted to give you is, for example, we observed through the years that over 80% of our customers are art lovers. They absolutely love arts. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are the top collectors in the world. So we worked with different art fairs and worked with just different auction houses. When they're doing an auction, what can we do to make sure that, for example, our clients are going to Paris to attend an auction and this type of product that they were buying, and how do we help them to ship them home, for example. And before they get there, last year we did a collaboration with Fritz Arts. Our clients, when they're flying with VistaJet, they will be able to preview the auction items in the sky, so before everyone else. So that's something that is hard, money can't buy, right? Because you could go there, but you have the luxury, you're flying there, you can preview the entire collection, what you're interested into before you get to that destination.
So how do you choose brand and company partners for the private world offering?
So the brand that we're choosing, one, they're top luxury brands, but most importantly for us as a company, we are a global company. Our customers, we own, we're very proud of our global 7,500 aircraft. That aircraft has a 17-hour range. Our customers are global citizens. We're always working with brands that have, we try to pick brands that have global touch, because the most important thing is that, what we offer is that no matter where you are in the world, when you board a VistaJet, you have a home away from home feeling. A lot of the hotels, for example, we work with, they have their standards. So you go to, or restaurants we work with, for example, you go to a Four Seasons hotel around the world, you know what to expect. Or you go to a Noble around the world, you know what to expect. So those tend to be the brands that we collaborate with, because again, we wanted to make sure that our clients and customer have this consistency in terms of their experiences.
The U.S. has been the shining star for luxury brands coming out of the pandemic. McKinsey reports U.S. consumer confidence is on the rise, but their spending continues to fall, even among the high-income consumer segment, whose spending has been sliding most of this year. Are you starting to see some of your newbies, I'll call them, and mid-level members straying from private aviation back to commercial air travel?
So I think our clients on the program side, they are the very much they're the ultra high net worth. Their spending haven't been affected as much to where we do see, as I mentioned before, on the charter side,
Right.
some of the program that we offer, sometimes people, instead of they were taking, for example, New York to Paris privately. Now they're going back to commercial first class. We do see some of that.
So are you finding new ways to retain them on the charter side, or you're just focused on the 0.1% of our customers?
We are definitely focusing on the entire customer base, right? So our customer base, I would say, is 0.05% of the population. We're focusing on the entire customer base. And I think to answer your question, for the clients that are doing a charter flight, right, from New York to Paris, I think the price compared to a commercial first class, you're talking about 10 times, sometimes 20 times difference.
Right.
The price is very prohibitive. So if someone that during the pandemic, people have to do it, they would do it. But, they will also load up the plane. Like I mentioned, some plane, you have the configuration, you can seat up to 14 passengers, but only sleep 7 or 8. During the pandemic, we saw some flights that people load up 14 passengers. That means that not everyone can sleep, right? So I think those are the customers that they come back to their pre-pandemic traveling pattern. Something I like to point out is in our private aviation traffic, right? Even we're comparing now the traffic compared to pre-pandemic. That means that October 2019, in terms of flight traffic, etc., we're still up. So those clients go back to their pre-pandemic travel, and then on the program side, we are keeping the clients. We keep on growing them.
You've launched a number of interesting marketing campaigns in the last few years that cover a whole range of themes. Among all of them, it seems onboard dining is a key strategy for VistaJet. What approach do you take to your catering program that meets the high demand of your members?
Catering is something that, people love to eat, right?
My hand's raised. Yeah.
Yeah, is a very important aspect of everyone's daily life. And I think most importantly is that for our clientele, like I mentioned about time before, right? So the time is something that people don't have. So while they're flying, they want to eat and they want to make sure as an operator, as a company, what our job, ultimately how we develop the dining program is that we want to make sure that what they experience on the ground, they can experience in the sky. So we developed a program. We worked with thousands of restaurants and hotels around the world, right? And we have our partners, the flagship partners. For example, we've been working with Nobu for over a decade, and we just launched a partnership with Milos. Those are the restaurants that we see that our customers love. Nobu even created a dish that only for VistaJet, when you're flying 40,000 feet, this is the only dish. This is the only place you can order from Nobu. That's the dried miso salmon he created for Vista. Now, what's the most important for this? As I mentioned, right? So there's a lot of science and research that again we put into it. Your taste bud on the ground and on the sky, in the sky, is a little bit different because of the altitude, because of the cabin pressure, because of the humidity, and because of the noise level. So we published a book, is Private Dining in the Sky, to study that and how we can make sure that the providers we work with, that they understand this difference. Whereas from our private dining team, we work with the suppliers, so we can make sure that we can provide that dish. So in the sky, they taste the same. So to provide our passengers the same experience. And another thing I want to highlight is that the really high-end dining is made possible by the aircraft type that we have, because our aircrafts are very advanced. So for example, our global express series, we have the 5,000 to 6,000. There is a full range oven and a microwave. And then on the global 7,500 aircraft, there's even a sous vide oven. So you can cook anything in the sky that a Michelin-starred restaurant will be able to cook.
What if I just want a Chick-fil-A sandwich?
We will organize that for you. We do have clients, they prefer a Shake Shack burger in New York to drink with our really nice curated wine collection. We do that for them. We also, for Shake Shack, actually, for the burger, we also have our special way, right? So we don't just go to Shake Shack, grab the burger, and then serve it on board, because the bun will be soggy. So what we do is that we pick up them separately, and we have the exact instruction. Then our cabin hostess, they will assemble them in the sky.
You also launched a pet program for furry flyers and a program designed specifically for children who are flying aboard. Are those two marketing programs a result of feedback from your members who fly with their families?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So that's really the two programs is where we got a feedback from our crew. They observe, right? So 1 in 4 flights, for example, that VistaJet flies has a pet on board. And I think it's also close to, I need to get the exact stats actually, but I think it's close to half of the flights that VistaJet flights have a kid on board. When I say that there's a kid on board, is for children and young adults under 16. So what we're doing is that, because even though, right, the pets, the kids, they're not lead passengers, but their experiences are really, really crucial to what our lead passenger's experience is, right? Because otherwise they can't focus on work, or they can't focus on resting. So that's how we came about developing the Adventures in the Sky, as well as the Vista Pet program. And it took us a long time, so 2 to 4 years to launch this program. We trained from what we do with, on board, to the kids menu, the pets menu. And most importantly, we spent 2 years, for example, to train our flight attendants, the cabin hostess with Northern College in London, to have knowledge and education on how to deal with children. And we also trained our flight attendants to be able to perform pet first aid. So there's a lot of thoughts and training going into those programs. And it really paid off, because it's one thing that really differentiates from the rest, from our peers, right? Again, the ultimate luxury is what you have on the ground, you can have in the sky.
This past summer, VistaJet announced that it was overhauling the interior design of its entire aircraft fleet to give customers a more standardized, contemporary look and feel. Why the massive makeover now?
We're constantly, want to improve the experience for our customers. When we took our delivery of our Global 7500, the interior we designed had a fresh look compared to the original design, right? There's a color theme is a little bit different. And the feedback was really, really good. So what we decided to do is that we're going to upgrading our entire fleet so that they would look like the Global 7500. So we use that as a template. And we started that with our large cabin business jet, which is the Global 6000, the Global 5000, and then the Gulfstream G450. Another thing is that when we did our Wi-Fi upgrade, we were upgrading our entire fleet from the 4G to the 5G, the KU band Wi-Fi. We're putting the aircraft down to do the Wi-Fi, the antenna anyways. So at the same time, we did entire upgrade interior-wise for our aircraft.
I want to talk about sustainability. The unprecedented spike in private aviation in the last 2 years has led to concerns over the amount of pollutants being emitted into the atmosphere. Recent studies have shown that on a per passenger basis, private jets generate 10 times more carbon emissions than commercial airlines. And sustainable aviation fuels have become more prevalent in the aviation industry in recent years, but they are expensive and not yet widely used. There have been talks of measures like including a transfer tax on all private jets, levying a fuel tax, implementing a surcharge on flights less than 210 miles. What actions is VistaJet taking to reduce its carbon footprint?
Of course, that is a really good question. And we have, it's something that is really important to us as a company, because it's also something that's very important to our members. So VistaJet, we have always had a carbon offset program. We've been working with a program called South Pole. So we have been giving our clients the option to offset their carbon emission. there is an option for them. They can opt in, and we charge a certain amount, and then we give the funds to South Pole to reduce carbon emission. We have been doing our reporting to comply with all the protocols, because as a company for VistaJet, we're aiming to be carbon neutral by 2025. And to talk about SAF, which is the sustainable aviation fuel, like you mentioned, is very expensive. And the reason it's expensive because it's not widely used, right? So about SAF is that the more that is being produced, the average cost will come down, because the initial research, no matter what source that is made, because on different companies and different countries, that SAF is actually made from, the original source is a little bit different. So with the original facility, as well as research that got put into it, the more that is being produced, the price will come down. So VistaJet, we have been actively sourcing SAF, and whenever we could buy it, we've been buying SAF. And recently, we actually just purchased another 200,000 USG of the SAF. So we now start to put in our fuel, we now start to put in all our flights wherever we can to use SAF to reduce the carbon emission. And it reduce up to 80% of the emission that traditional fuel would produce.
In an interview you did a few years ago, you stated that one of you and your team's goals was to increase the share of female passengers in your customer base from 5% to 25% over the next 5 years. So let's fast forward to today. Have you seen a movement from that 5%?
Yes, actually, I'm really proud of that. I was looking at that just 2 weeks ago, because we do a customer reports and commercial reporting. Today, we're at around 11%.
What do you attribute that to?
I think there's a lot of factors in our, our society. What, as you can see, could be changing, right? I think women now start taking a more and more important role, right, in the boardroom, in the C-level women. Mm-hmm. A lot more women entrepreneurs, and I think that's the reason, right? Again, that's when women are being more successful. As a company, we'll be getting more of those clients that are the lead passengers are women.
We're starting to see jet services at leading luxury hotel groups getting into the aviation industry. Four Seasons has been doing private jet experiences since 2015, and Amana has also positioned itself for a share of the sky with its own fleet of long-range private jets. Do you see that as a growing threat to your business?
No, actually, I don't, because I'm not familiar with the two programs, but these are the two companies that we do work with on our private world side. From my understanding, they're not those fleets are not owned. They work with third-party operators and they lease those aircraft. Four Seasons, for example, Four Seasons have the I think it's 18-seater. They configure it. We call it the VVIP configuration compared to a private configuration. Our aircraft will be a private configuration, which the VVIP is all first-class seats with Four Seasons logo and Four Seasons bedding, Four Seasons service. So what, from my understanding, the Four Seasons Amman are doing is that they are creating an itinerary for their guests to travel between the Four Seasons resorts, for example. It's a 2-week itinerary, and it's a planned routes, and you're sharing this aircraft with other Four Seasons guests. So it's and they charge, I think it was, there was a price for a couple, for 2 people. It's a very, very experienced and value proposition from what we're doing. We're doing the truly replication to ownership business aircraft. So it's for business and it's for leisure, but what they're doing is very different because it's a curated and planned itinerary.
From your perspective, what do you see as the future of private air travel in terms of innovation, amenities, and services, things like that?
I think the private air travel, even in the past 10 years, right? Because the environment, a lot of times, and also geopolitically, what happened with COVID, it's always about technology. That's why the new aircraft, the new avionics, the Global 7500 is so great in terms of the cutting edge technology, where it's not just about, it is about very much the jet lag reducing technology, but it's about safety, right? How do you navigate through turbulence? How do you know that? How do you get alert for geopolitical risk so you could take action to make sure that your operation is safe? And in terms of onboard amenity luxury, again, we see a trend where I think wellness is what is the ultimate, is a trend where, because people, what does people want? People want to, live forever. How do they make sure that their life is healthy? I think that's a trend in luxury. How do you make sure that you're not only just from, physically, but mentally, how do you have that balance, that wellness?
What new marketing programs, collaborations, or business initiatives are you excited about over the next 6 months?
There's several where, I have a really good marketing team. They're always doing a lot of things that are really exciting. A couple things that I'm really excited about is that we have a partnership, for example, with Montage Hotel and Collection in the United States. And we did a partnership with where we launched the partnership with the Four Seasons in Hawaii, the resorts, where we're flying our customers to the resorts from mainland United States, and they offer certain benefits. We have our partnership with Yellowstone, which winter is coming. That's going to be, I'm really excited about that. And we also have a couple other ones. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about that. Really, I'm really excited. I think going into the holiday season, and again, of course, in the past couple of years, what we did with our private world, one of the things that I think, even I look at it, and we have a couple of clients that did it, was like, wow, it's called the family reunion. Is basically an around the world scavenger hunt that we work with a company, with several concierge company around the world. We still have clients. We look forward to clients booking it this holiday season, so we can fly different aircraft around the world for family to meet somewhere, and we give them clues so they can go to do the scavenger hunt. I'm always excited about that. So when I see a client booking that, it's like, wow, that's the ultimate dream for like a family holiday vacation during the holidays.
Leona, my final question is the luxury item question, which I ask all my guests. So if you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only have one luxury item with you, what would that luxury item be? It can't be any form of air transportation, so you can't call any of your buddies at VistaJet or XOJet. You can't call them to pick you up. It can't be any kind of water transportation or anything that requires mobile service to call somebody to get you off that island. It's just you, lots of sand, lots of trees, lots of ocean. What would that one single luxury item you would like to have with you?
Wow. I think, first of all, I don't think that would be very good for me, because I always said, when people said that, camping, like I'm not a camping person, I'll do glamping. So this outdoor, if you're talking about survival, this will be a very bad situation for me, first of all, unless you're talking about I'm stranded in Ibiza, or island of Manhattan, like I know what to do. But if I were, when I vacation, when I travel, I love tropical vacations, like, with scents. What I found that I cannot go without is the face spray mist. So either La Mer have them, and Evian water, you name it. I think I just spray them constantly, because I feel like they keep me hydrated. And with the number of hours I fly and travel each year, that's one luxury item that I honestly go everywhere with.
Leona Qi, president of VistaJet U.S., thank you so much for joining me on the luxury item.
Thank you so much, Scott.
That's it for this episode of the Luxury Item Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this useful and entertaining, I would be really grateful if you can share it with a friend or colleague. I would love it if you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps other listeners find us. The Luxury Item Podcast is a production of Silvertone Consulting. I'm your host, Scott Kerr. Until next time.